Do you want to become successful? Do you want to hear from real life stories of real people who were able to make things happen? Today, I'm very, very much excited because I'm very honored. I'm very blessed to have Steve Sims with me on my LinkedIn Live. If you don't know who Steve Sims is, I'm gonna give a very brief introduction about him. But if you don't know me yet, let me introduce myself. My name is Wandalyn Tan-Kalupig. I am the 2021 number one most influential Filipino on LinkedIn, also the first Filipina LinkedIn Live broadcaster. I use this platform because I want to inspire people, help them understand that what's possible for me is possible for you. What is possible for all my guests is possible for you too. So before I bring Steve on stage, let me give a brief introduction because this is he's so much. So I'm so excited. So Steve Sims is the maverick entrepreneur, experienced magician, and mastermind behind Bluefish, the game-changing concierge service. He was born and raised in Eastern London, and he shattered the boundaries of his humble beginnings, embarking on an audacious quest to redefine what is possible. He is a visionary pioneer, and he has proven that you can do whatever you want and turn your dreams into reality. His remarkable journey serves as a reminder that audacity, perseverance, and unyielding passion are the keys to unlocking a world of untold possibilities. Brace yourself because today we're gonna go on an adventure with Steve. Steve, I cannot thank you enough for saying yes.
This is great. I think that's one of the most fun introductions I've ever had. So I'm a little bit excited and a little bit nervous.
I chat GPT that. Chat GPT is like, which is the most interesting part. But before, maybe Steve, you can tell a story in terms of, I remember one of the things I read about you. You actually dropped out of school and then you went to Hong Kong to, because you decided you want to be rich and then you find a job. Then you got fired the next day. Can you tell more about that story? Because I always believe the humble beginnings is always important to hear.
Yeah, humble beginnings are one thing, but I also think an aggravated mindset is better. As I grew up in East London and just outside of London, I didn't really have A, any opportunities, B, any direction, and C, any successful friends to mentor me or look up to. So I didn't have any of these things. So I was a very aggravated youth trying to work out, well, hang on, where's my life going? And I had all of these questions populating my little brain. So that aggravation, and I always pick on the word aggravation because that creates momentum. If we're aggravated about something, we do something about it. And so I tried to find a way of surrounding myself with people that I wanted to be like, whether they were, and in the early stages, and you can probably, agree to this, when you're a kid and you're 16 years old, the idea of success is money. And you just want to be, when you're a kid, I just want to be rich. I just want loads of money because you think that's the answer to everything. So when I was young, I wanted to hang around with rich people that had lots of money because I didn't. And I tried getting jobs and I got the chance of a stockbroker's job in Hong Kong. I took the job, landed, was no good, got fired, and just kept on this aggravation of how can I surround myself. I ended up working on a nightclub door in Wan Chai, Hong Kong. And I was just watching how people that had rented the tables and was buying champagne, how they lived. And it was that aggravation. Now, at first, I wanted to surround myself with rich people. So, hey, if you needed to go backstage, on stage, you wanted front row seats, you wanted to meet and greet, you wanted to play drums with Guns N' Roses, you wanted to sing on stage with Journey, you wanted to meet Elton John. If I could do those things for you, all I wanted was A, to be paid, but B, I wanted to have a conversation with you. So if I could impress you and get you what you wanted, that was nothing more than my way into having a conversation. And over the years, I realized that successful people being successful was different to being rich. And I noticed that they were two different things. I know a lot of very unhappy rich people. And I know a lot of people that make not a lot of money, but are incredibly successful and happy. So it's a benchmark that you have to create in your mind that works for you. And so that was my journey.
That's good. I agree with you. I mean, when I was at the peak of my career as audit manager, I was like, I have everything I've dreamed of, living in Dubai, having this role, this job, this family, but I wasn't happy. And that actually led me to that aggravated mindset. I love the terminology to find, why am I here? What am I meant to do? What's really the right career for me? And imagine moving from audit manager, I move into training and coaching, which I never planned nor imagined. Now, for you, Steve, how did it evolve for you to create Bluefish? Because, from that nightclub, how did you create it?
So you're right. We don't know. We don't know where we're going. We can plan, we can dream, we can desire, hey, I would love to be this person. I'd love to do that job. But it's amazing how many people end up where they never conceived. When I was the doorman, I only had one goal: to find rich people in the nightclub that I could befriend and I could help. And if I could help you. So I invented quite simply a Trojan horse. I would do this. So I got the chance to be able to do this with you. And I thought, if I can know a lot of rich people, they will employ me. I will get a job with one of those. So if I was dealing with someone that owned one of the largest jewelry firms in Hong Kong, if I looked after you, you'll give me a job. I'd look after people that owned private jets. If I looked after you, I'd get a job at the jet charter. So I always thought that would be where I would end up, not realizing that I would end up quite simply inventing the concierge industry, which is what we did. It sounds arrogant, but that's what we did. And we were the most successful experiential concierge firm, working with billionaires and millionaires literally all over the planet. But I never expected to do that. And then the next step happened where I suddenly realized that as this big English biker with tattoos and piercings, I'm now dealing with people and I look like this. And then the world started to get these things called websites. And everyone started changing who they were to a different person on the website. And then social came across. And how many times do you meet someone or you see someone on social and then you meet them and they're a totally different person? And
that's true.
We've started to create these fake personas and images online, which are complete detraction to who we actually are. So I ended up getting approached to write a book on how I branded and how I marketed and how a guy looking like me can hang around with the most affluent people in the planet. And I wrote a book called Bluefish, the Art of Making Things Happen. And I didn't expect it to take off, and it did. And I suddenly started coaching and training and literally speaking all over the planet. I've spoken in Thailand recently, Venice, Italy, all over America and Europe. And then last year, on top of my very successful coaching program, I actually released my second book, Go for Stupid, The Art of Achieving Ridiculous Goals. And that became a bestseller within, I think it was 4 hours. So I'm now out there trying to help people understand you don't have to look a certain way. You have to turn up with value. You have to turn up as a solution. Those are things you should be focusing on, not your hairdo.
I love that terminology. You should focus on the value. And these books that you said, I'm gonna definitely find it. Actually, when I was doing my research, there are 2 books which I'm very excited to get. But maybe the big question is that, how do you influence the influential? Because I think this is the one that you have mastered with your business, with your speaking, with your if you can give some tips, how do you really influence the influential?
I'm not quite sure I influence. Great words. I love the question. I don't think I influence the influential. I think I help reframe and maybe redirect. And the way that I do that is I become a 5-year-old. And today, we all think we've got the answers. We all think we're doing successful. We all think everything's going okay. And so what I do is I love the 5-year-old period of your life where nothing was impossible and you question everything. So when someone says to me, hey, I'm doing this, I say to them, well, that's great. But hey, I've got a question. And they go, what's that? And I go, why? And they say, well, what do you mean, why? A lot of people are doing stuff, but they never ask themselves why they are doing it. They're just doing it. And so what I try to do is I question, what are you doing? What are you doing with your brand? What are you doing with your program? What are you doing with your influence? What are you doing with your impact? What are you doing and why? And what's the point? Why are you doing this? A lot of people, you mentioned it, that you were working for a company and you were very successful. You were making money, but it wasn't making you happy. So a lot of people are doing things and they don't pay attention to the person that they should themselves and ask them, why am I doing this? Yeah, I'm doing this because I'm good at it. So are you making the money you should? Not really. Are you getting good clients or are you getting annoying clients? You know, what is the long-term goal here and why is it important? You really need to question yourself. So whenever I'm dealing with anyone of any kind of profile, influence, status, stature, my first question is this where you want to be? How did you get here? And why are you doing what you're doing? What is the point? And I question the point of where they are. 9 times out of 10, we can then end up redefining that trajectory and that point and that process and the impact they can actually put out in the planet.
I love that. I think, what I also learned, it's about always the clarity of your why, right? The clarity of your why you're doing what you do, where you want to go, because the moment you're clear about that, then it's easy to map the steps now to get there.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, I know there are struggles along the way before you built this very successful company. Can you share what is the most difficult struggle you had and how did you overcome it?
Oh, wow. So it's funny, as a big ugly biker, I was very curious. And of course, we didn't have YouTube or anything like that in the 90s. So I would literally see someone with a beautiful car and I would want to know, what did they do as a job to be able to afford that car? And I was curious. But I would literally walk up to them and I'd be like, hey, how come you're rich and I'm not? And of course, that's not a very nice way to come across. That's not going to get you the answers you want. So I learned how to communicate well by first identifying that I was communicating badly. And every good relationship I have is the benefit of learning from the bad relationships I've had. Every contract that I've ever written that was good has been based on the education of writing a bad contract. So the point is, all of those struggles are education on how not to do it. And I was always very much of an enabler and a collector of bad situations in order to make a good situation. So every time I had a bad situation happen or I had a struggle, I lost a contract, I entered into a bad client relationship, I invoiced badly, I wouldn't harm myself. I wouldn't negate myself. I would look at it and I'd be like, well, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And I would be very inquisitive in the gold that was in those bad moments. And that used to make me positive. Great. Now I know how I did it wrong. I'm not going to do that again. And it would venture me onto the positivity and the outcome that I would get. And every relationship I've got I can literally thread back to the bad ones and what I learned from them.
I like what you said. I think this is like, you know what I also learned? There's no failure. It's always about when you learn something from your failure, then you're the exact story of how you use every failure,
Mm-hmm.
to be better in communication, to make sure that the contracts are okay. So that's really, really very good in terms of looking at the perspective, right? That mistakes are not mistakes. It's how you learn from it. Now, also, Steve, a lot of people are like burnout, and they're like they wanted to start a business but they're scared, they wanted to either quit their businesses too, but they don't know what to do. Can you give advice? How did you find that, wait, this Bluefish is something I want to do, this book writing, coaching, training is something that's for me?
I didn't know if it was. I remember when I wrote the book, I thought myself, no one would ever buy it. No one would ever believe it. I thought my mum may buy a copy just to make myself feel good, but that was about it. But then people started asking me questions, and I realized that what I was doing that was easy and natural to me was scary to other people. And here's the daft thing. I noticed it was the most simple things that people avoid. If I say to you, hey, do this, and this will happen, and it's very easy, very simple, naturally, we don't trust it because it can't be that simple. It can't be that easy. But if I say to you, hey, I've got a course on this, and it's $25,000, and over 6 months, you'd be looking at how you could pay $25,000. Today, the strange thing about our generation today is that we try to pay away pain. We don't want to do the work. We want to buy that ticket and have you do it, And I found that was really, really weird. So when people start approaching me going, hey, can you coach? I'll be like, I can't coach. What can I coach on? And I started speaking to a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine that were coaches like Jay Abraham and Jim Quick. And I suddenly started realizing that my failures were my degree in what to do. As you say, we're either winning or we're learning. And so I started coaching people, and I suddenly started realizing that I had I don't want to say a talent, but I had an insight. I had a different view. I had a different direction. I had a different challenge. And I was willing to put that on you to get the benefit out of whatever you were doing. So it was one of those things that grew. I didn't know it was going to happen, but as entrepreneurs, we harness that opportunity. Now, for all of those people out there that you say want to start another business, you don't have to leave the business you're in to start another business. In fact, it's usually best to try something on the side just to find out two things. One, is there anyone that wants it? Because if no one wants what you're selling, you're out of business. You didn't even start a business. So do you provide the solution to a problem? And can you find people that have that problem? That's the first thing. The second thing is you said that people are scared. Okay?
Yes.
I love fear. I love fear. But what you've got to do is you've got to reframe it. Now think about it. Are you scared to leave your job? Or are you scared that in 2 years' time, 10 years' time, you're still in the same job? What's scarier? Taking the risk or being in the same place in 10 years? Now, as far as I'm concerned, being in the same place in 10 years is terrifying. A friend of mine once said to me, the definition of hell is to meet the man or woman you could be. And I, therefore, always want to take that chance. My fear doesn't stop me moving. My fear moves me, and it aggravates me into that momentum. So if you're scared about starting a new job, good. But try it on the side. See if you can sell a couple, and then see if you can sell another couple. And that will start to build up momentum, and then you can drop your job.
That's a very good advice. Thank you for that, Steve. So, as you rightly said, right, create a solution, or find the people who have a problem and create the solution for them. And fear, I think I know now why you're very successful. You're very good in reframing in terms of failures. You're good in reframing about fear, because when people generally are fearful, either they, what do they do? They escape, right? But for you, you love fear, and you use that fear to propel you forward. Now, Steve, maybe you can also give some advice, because as you rightly said, you can have all the money but you're unhappy. Or what is your advice? So you can have, because I know that, and I learned that success is about balance in everything, right? Success in your relationships, in your finances. At this stage in your life, what is your advice, so that, what is really the recipe for you to have success in all areas of your life?
Identification. I think you've got to identify what it is that actually makes you happy. Is it a new boat? Is it a mansion? Is it, fancy cars? Or is it having a conversation and being proud of you being the person that you openly show people you are? A lot of people today are actually hiding behind costume, and they are not true to not only the person that they're dealing with, because they're trying to look sexy or look intelligent or look smart. They're trying to put on such an act that they're not being true to themselves. So, in fact, every single day they're living with a lie, and that lie eats them up. And so I try to find out what are you? Who are you? What do you stand for? What drives you? What excites you? What scares you that we can use, and how we can reveal who you actually are. And 9 times out of 10, what makes people really happy is being able to show up as themselves.
Of
And
course.
the daft thing is, in a world where we're manufacturing lies and personas, that takes effort. When you take
I
the
know.
effort away, all of a sudden you turn up and you're like, right, this is me. Now let's solve something. And when you can be that blunt and refreshing, people love it. My clients, 90% of the time, the comment I get back is how easy it is for them to be them in a conversation with me.
I agree with you. It's not an easy way, right? Because for me, I cannot imagine how many coaches, how many programs, how many books for me to find out who I really am and express that. But I also learned, as you know, one of the famous quotes, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. It's really the best. I think you are very successful in many ways because you are you. And you're the best gift that you're giving to this world, so that whatever coaching, training, or your success follows you, because there's just one persona and one you, no filter. And that is something that being authentically from beginning to now has carried you through. So that's very, very good. Now we are almost towards the end. In terms of the changes that we're facing now, they always say there is change in digital economy. There's so much change that humans cannot comprehend, and it's scary. And I know you said before there was still no YouTube. I mean, you've been through so many changes. And what's your best advice so that you can continue to thrive regardless of the environment and of the changes that you are in?
So the world has been distracted for many years. And every time something comes along, it's a new distraction. It's a new distortion. We had the distortion when radio was invented, when TV was invented, when the car was invented, and then when the computer was invented. So we're constantly in a moment of distortion and distraction. When you've got distortion and distraction, you've also got opportunity. Now, when the world is going really well, when everything is perfect, when everyone's making money, they don't care about value because they're making money. But when you're not making money, and like when you think about when you didn't have money, when you were younger and you didn't have a lot of money, when you went to the store, you were really careful what you purchased, weren't you? Because you didn't have a lot of money. But when you've got millions, you don't care, because waste is irrelevant to you because you got lots of money. When you've got distortion and distraction in the planet, we go back to going, okay, I'm not looking at the price tag, but I am looking at the value now. So is that important? So in a world of distortion and distraction, if you always focus on your value, what do you bring to your client's economy? Now, the economy of that mind, that relationship, that business. If you always focus on you as a value, these distortions and distractions are your benefit. Now, when we went through COVID, I launched 2 other businesses in COVID. We did incredibly well. We're still doing really well. And I live in Los Angeles, and apparently we're in a recession. But a recession causes people to not stop spending, but just to focus on the value of what they are spending money on. So if you're all shiny with no fulfillment and with no benefit, you deserve to be bankrupt. But if you always focus on the value that you bring, you'll always be in that opportunity metrics.
I love that. Focus on the value that you bring so you will be in the opportunity matrix. Now also, Steve, a lot of children are doubting. I remember my daughter said, "Oh, mommy, the future will be ruled by robots. What will I do? What career will I take?" And I was like, I know I can't even answer that because I don't know. But from your experience, what is the best advice that you could give to these children or even to those people who want to forge their career paths?
So can you imagine what it must have been like in the early days of humanity when the caveman suddenly invented the knife? And then they suddenly invented the axe. And then they invented the hammer. And I don't know if it was in that order. But you imagine everyone on stagecoaches the first time they saw a car. The point is, all of these things are tools. They can be used badly. They can be used wisely. But they have to be used. If I stick a hammer on the floor, it's not going to bang a nail itself. Well, I have to use it. Everything that we've got coming at us at the moment, robots, AI, interface, AR, all of these things, they're tools. If I don't turn it on, it doesn't work. If I turn it on and I direct it badly, then it will do badly. So the point today is the youngsters have the opportunity for more tools than we ever had. They can create greatness with more tools and opportunities than we ever had. If you want to use those for bad, they will do bad. But if you have a positive mindset, searching for a solution to a problem that people never envisaged could be solved, today is a great, wondrous day. So I believe today is a fantastic time. ChatGPT is a brilliant tool to help us, not to replace us, but to help us. It gives us, when you're writing something, you're trying to help out a client, it's a great way to spark ideas that then you have to finish. So your job is not replaced, your job is helped.
I like that. And I agree with you. I started using ChatGPT only last week, but I was so impressed by how much, productivity I had because of it. So thank you. I learned so much today, Steve. If how can people catch you? How can they buy your book? What is your next event? Because I think, you're such a, I'll say, a person filled with so much wealth of wisdom. And I love the simplicity of, how you explain these things. It's, a lot of coaches or a lot of people, when you speak to them, it's like you really need to still understand. But for you, it's like a no nonsense when you listen to him. It's simple and you can use it immediately. And so how can people reach out to you? What's the best way?
Go to stevedsims.com and subscribe to my newsletter. Go to Steve D. Sims anywhere on media, whether it be LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you consume your media. Steve D. Sims, D for dashing and 1M in Sims. And send me a DM. Let us know that you actually heard me here with Coach Wanda, and I'll be able to respond, and I'll ask you what you thought of the podcast.
Thank you so much again, Steve. I hope people will understand, what's possible for Steve is possible for you too. He actually has made a lot of things, turn things into reality with his aggravated mindset, with his passion, with his reframing ability. And I think understanding those concepts and applying it can definitely change your life today. So thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Thanks.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye. So what is Sims Distillery?
Let's show you in under 3 minutes.
Sims Distillery is the mastermind for creative and disruptive entrepreneurs.
The ones that continue to demand more from their business, their family, and themselves every single day.
I knew that it was going to be a group that I was going to be called out on my bullshit for.
You get more than what you ever thought.
I joined the distillery to take my game to the next level.
Are we a mastermind for marketing, real estate investment, fitness, or finances?
No, and yes. Most masterminds only focus on one subject. We focus on all the ingredients to make you the most impactful entrepreneur you can be, which is why we chose the name Sims Distillery.
We take all the raw ingredients, combine them, and distill them for you to become the most potent version of yourself possible.
It's a support group, it's an advice group, it's an inspiration group.
The educators that are also a part of this whole experience are people that you may not have access to outside of a large stage.
Are we experts in all subjects? Hell no. But we know people.
Unlike other masterminds that are happy to have you sit and listen like a lecture series, we bring in the experts during our weekly mastermind calls to answer your questions during real conversations. But is it only weekly Zoom calls? No.
We have a private community channel where you can go in and ask the questions, the problems that you have, to find out, has anyone actually been through that and can help you? Or maybe there's other people going through the same thing as you, and you can work together to jointly find the best solution for all of you. And then you can become the source to help other people.
And of course, we can't forget the implementation days. Twice a year, we meet in person to connect, help each other implement what it is we're learning, and celebrate this journey with our kind of people.
They don't sugarcoat anything. It's off the cuff and it's real.
There's zero ego.
One of my favorite things is actually Tech Tuesdays.
It's got to be the people.
More people in here care what's best for each other versus wanting something from each other.
It's important to know that you didn't get accepted just because your credit card went through.
We review and vet every single application. So,
If you're not looking to put the work in,
if you're not willing to help your fellow mastermind family, we're not for you.
If you're looking for new ideas, new family, new community,
Looking to contribute to the conversation and looking to expand your network,
that are going to work together to challenge and support and provoke you into being the person you can be,
this is what we have to say.
Don't hesitate.
What's it going to cost you not to do it right now?
Get off the fence.
You have to take the first step.
Why would you not take a chance on the distillery?
Jump off that fence and let's go.
Apply now.
you know it makes sense.
Thank you for watching this interview with Steve Sims. I hope you get to understand how you can build a billion-dollar business. His aggravated mindset helped him understand and move from making things happen and making the impossible possible. And also, Steve emphasized about what? Reframing fear into opportunities, being true to yourself and providing solutions so you can build a business you love and be successful. And with that, I would like to thank you for watching us, and I would like to personally invite you next week, June 22, Saturday. That's 3 p.m. Dubai time and 7 p.m. Manila, Singapore time. I am having a webinar together with Bailiwick Academy, where we will share about how to build a business you love, break through barriers, and boost sales. Yes, I will be more than happy to share with you because for the last 10 years, I've been working with business owners, and I will share with you how you can have a map. What's a map? I will share my personal experience, of course, and my client's experience. How you can, number one, have a letter M mindset hack. You really need to have the entrepreneur mindset so you can turn around your business. And I will share the secrets how I help a CEO move from zero to top sales awards. What's the next thing? Letter A. In this webinar, it's a 2-hour workshop and webinar we will do together. I will give you actionable business techniques that you can immediately apply. So whether you're just starting, you want to start a business, or you're already a business owner, you can understand how you can immediately and of course grow your business. And the last but the most important, you will have a personalized action plan. I know every person is unique, so together we will create a personalized action plan for you so you can boost sales and supercharge your business, whether you're just starting or you're already an entrepreneur. I would like to personally invite you, go to bit.ly/breakthrough business 2024 and Bailiwick Academy together with Grace Parazzo and I will teach you how can you build a business you love, break through the barriers so you can boost sales. So you'll get a map, mindset hacks, actionable business plan, and personalized action plan. See you there. Thank you and God bless you.